Hello, brothers and sisters. My name is Richard Koritz, and I'm proud to be here with my co-host, Brother O.W. Sweeney, longtime friend, brother, comrade, union brother, you name it.
In the union trenches, yes.
And fight for justice.
That's right.
Social justice.
That's the most important part, justice for the people.
Right. So, in fact, it's part of the name of our sponsor.
That's right. The North
Carolina
Triad Jobs with Justice. Where you can reach us at 336-272-2758 or email at
NC Triad Jobs with Justice at gmail.com. Now that we got through that, we can introduce our guest and
reintroduce an old guest.
Yeah, he's almost,
and we might want to put him in that old friend category too.
Yeah, right, exactly. And that is Brother Gary Kenton. Gary, good to see you again.
Glad to have you back here, brother.
And
appreciate.
And it's nice to have you on. Even this is the beginning for us because of some issues, health issues. This is our first show of the of February.
Yes.
And it's Black History Month, and followed by Women's History Month, I guess, which includes International Women's Day.
Which I think they both should be celebrated year round.
Yeah. Well, I know you do.
Yes.
And you've made no bones about it.
Right.
We want to recognize on this show, and it's kind of nice having an old friend like you with us to pay tribute to several people who passed away who were fighters for justice.
Right.
Like the three of us, maybe some better than us even. Claudette Colvin was the young 15-year-old, courageous black girl, really still, in Montgomery, who refused to give up her seat 9 months before Rosa Parks did.
And got no credit until now.
Well, yeah, it should be, and we can give the black community in Montgomery some credit, and I'll explain why in a minute, for what they did do. And they were victorious with what they did, so that's very important.
Right.
But I think the significance for us, at least, of Claudette Colvin, because we didn't know her, is that she had that courage at such a young age.
Right.
She was not a well-heeled, black person from the black bourgeoisie or something. She was not a privileged
young
youth.
lady.
She was a youth who felt the sting of injustice, and was ready to heroically, in Montgomery, Alabama, take action at that point. And I think we'd have to say that her courageous stand, actually paved the way for Rosa Parks and which Rosa Parks was one of the community activists in the black community at the time, and had a lot of training, had a lot of credit in the community as a stable force, if not a middle class force, but a stable force in the community, and became an untarnished figure, so to speak, around whom the masses of humanity there could boycott that damn bus company and bring it to its knees in a heroic struggle in 1955. So that's what I mean, O.W., that I think even when we say that Claudette Colvin didn't get credit, she should have had credit for what we just said.
Right.
That she was a path blazer. And what I think is true of the Montgomery, Alabama forces around, they weren't even the NAACP particularly, but they did bring out the young minister Martin Luther King Jr. and made him the
leader,
the spokesman and all that. But it was actually the union brother there from the sleeping car porters who was the person who said we need to have King become the leader of this thing.
Yes.
He's the one who brought that level of organization
it's
to that.
Because of King's charismatic speeches.
No, Randolph was the national leader of the sleeping car porters, but I'm talking about the local person. Yeah. So, but anyway, so I think we all want to recognize, give her homage, and also because it shows that it was right from within the very heart of the people.
Yes.
That this movement came, and so it was no accident that those people walked to work, they carpooled, they did everything they had to do. The whole black community, which was massive in Montgomery.
It's necessary to crumble that giant.
Exactly.
But the fight still continue.
Oh yeah.
Even though we're going, and we sometimes have to look back and say, thank you to those people, and give them their praise.
Right.
For the job that was well done.
Right.
And to inspire others to do a good job.
And step up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
and boy, we need it today.
Yes, more so than ever.
Yeah, no kings, brother.
No kings.
And No Kings. Yes. March number 3 is coming out on March 28th.
Oh, yes.
And we hope a lot of our viewers will be out there with us.
Well, where's it going to be?
It's going to be about everywhere.
I'm talking about in Greensboro.
Oh, I don't know that.
Or is it going to be a long window like it was before?
I'm guessing they'll stick with that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
A lot of visibility. Yeah. It's not as social. Downtown is more social, in a way. But yeah, people. I don't know about you guys, but how many of those kinds of rallies or protests have we been at over the years?
Right, and this one was over 3,000 people.
But I'll just say, I'm assuming you've seen the same thing, that it's not just the usual suspects. That over the years you go to these protests and you see the same core. These are much bigger, and that gives you hope that a lot of people. And I've talked to people in my neighborhood who say, "I've never been to one of these protests before," and I say, I don't say to them, "Well, if you had been, maybe we wouldn't have to be here now." But I hold my tongue, and it's good. It's spreading, and it's spreading in places that maybe over the years we have failed to mobilize as many people as we've tried to.
You got to understand, on Saturday on West Wendover, all the cars and the traffic and the shopping and stuff like that, you reach much more people.
That's right.
And it makes them aware, but they have to look around. They run around doing their daily routine, and they're really not paying attention to what's being done to them.
Right.
They might think it's being done to those people, but it's being done to them as well.
That's right.
As the media have well portrayed what happened in Minnesota, where innocent people.
Yeah, and we can say, O.W., I think you hit on the key thing, and Gary hasn't emphasized it yet, and that is that under the Trump regime, we have what I consider now in regime number 2 that began a year ago, we now have fascism in power. Whereas we had a fascist in power in this first term, but without having fascism itself in power. And this time, and this is what the people of Minnesota, and I like to think that we here in North Carolina can be Minnesotans too.
That's right.
In the fight against fascism.
Don't forget that old Union saying, an injury to one is an injury to who?
All.
That's right.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Greensboro responds. Last night, City Council changed their ordinance to put very specific restrictions if a detention center is built.
Okay, so it's in opposition, basically.
Well, they said all this. For example, it can't be within a certain number of miles of a religious institution. So the Hebrew Academy, which is where they've discussed a possible detention center, it can't happen there because the Jewish temple is right across the street.
Oh, okay.
So that eliminates that site. I've heard they may house ICE and Border Patrol there if they come to Greensboro. But I'm just saying, so City Council, by the way, I guess I haven't talked to you guys. We have a City Council now that's different than any other City Council we've ever had in Greensboro. It's pretty remarkable, I think. But so that City Council is on top of it. I don't know if I work a lot with the League of Immigrant Voters, and we do all these, vote candidate forums and so on. There are a couple of candidate forums this year that were different. And Siembra, North Carolina did one, and the Interactive Resource Center did one. Instead of letting the candidates give their speeches and their platitudes, they were advocates, and they stood up and said, here's the problem, and then they turned to the candidates and said, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And
that was much more effective.
It was mind-blowing to me, and I've run for city council, so I almost felt sorry for the candidates because they were really...
Don't do that.
No.
That would have been a step too far.
I just said almost.
Good.
But they turned to all the candidates and said, would you support a town hall about Border Patrol, ICE, and how Greensboro is going to respond? And all the people that said yes got elected.
Right.
So
and it's interesting, Gary, because the last show that we did was an interview with two of the activists with Indivisible Guilford.
Right.
And when we had, during the course of our discussion on the show, the young woman, Leonora, raised, she's younger than we all are. She raised...
Not hard to do.
Right. Yeah. She raised that they helped, and we all helped, those of us that were involved with the Indivisible movement and these massive demonstrations in April, June, and October, that we all helped to, and more than the Democratic Party did. We were the ones, and led by Indivisible and others, and she mentioned that they had played a role in the local election and had elected better people. Remember?
Absolutely.
And I think that's exactly what you just
Guilford
described.
for All. I'll just give them a plug. They're still. People always turn to me. They think I'm involved. I know. They say, "Who should I vote for?" And I said, "Go to guilfordforall.org and whatever they say," because they have a very, lengthy process of vetting candidates. And if they don't find some candidate that fits in with what they believe, they just won't endorse in a race. They don't endorse just because, lesser of two evils. They don't endorse unless people are philosophically aligned
and
with
make
them.
some commitment.
Right. And so I think that, and all of the people they endorsed got elected on city council. And so I really, Indivisible, Guilford for All, I think there's younger leadership. And...
But really, what I was starting to say, Gary, I'm sorry, is that what OW raised, I think, is the key, and that is that this first year of Trump number 2 was so he was so rotten. His whole coterie of stooges has been so rotten and corrupt. And we've never, the three of us who have many years in this movement, we've never seen anything like it.
Why you call them stooges when they're puppets?
That's why I call them stooges, because I use a different word sometimes than you do, if it's okay.
But I know we may not want to talk about it at length now, but I'll just say it's social media, because all of the people he picked for his half his cabinet were Fox
people.
News, talking heads. He always says, does he look the part? And these people are lying on his behalf in the belief that they can control the narrative. And in terms of most people in America now get their news from social media, which is a frightening prospect. So,
well, and we know that's a particular interest of yours, and we're going to tap your knowledge probably more on another show when we can devote more time to it. But you would include the whole question of AI is a big part of that. And I think that there's no doubt that that's part of what has allowed this fascist movement to come to actual power in the country. Certainly, having been an empire for the last 50 or 60 years, the U.S. had its own level of corruption that affects even the masses of the population.
Had or has?
Well, I don't know what I said. Has or has. I'll go with either one.
Has.
It hasn't broken with it entirely, that's for sure.
It continue on, even though the people don't realize. They feel that those candidates who stand there and talk all good and gracious and make those promises of what they're going to do, when they get in office, they completely ignore the people who voted for them.
Well, that's clear.
And my point is that we have a revolution in this country every year. It's the first Tuesday in November. That is our revolution time to get rid of those who don't stand up for the people. We must remember those last promises they made and didn't keep.
Yeah. Well, and that's why Indivisible, as we talked to our two guests the last time, they're trying to hold people's commitment to the fire.
Yeah, I understand that, but the biggest problem is trying to educate the public.
But part of educating the public is by going into the streets.
I understand that. I understand that. But enough of them don't seem to care. They worried about that next meal or how they gonna pay that next bill.
Well, that's legitimate too.
Yeah, I understand it's legitimate. I understand it's legitimate, but trying to pay those bills, you're not really looking at what's causing you to put you into that situation.
True.
Right. And I'll say, keeping coalitions together after elections. I think we learned our lesson when we had Carolyn Allen elected, who I think was the best mayor Greensboro's ever had. But once she got elected, I was as guilty as anyone saying, great, Carolyn, go to it. And I went about my business. And then when you get in office, all of a sudden you're under different pressures.
That's right.
The development community, the lawyers, they all come at you, the real estate people. And we failed to, and I've recommended to all the candidates on there, keep your coalitions together. Keep meeting with the people who elected you.
Right.
They'll keep you honest, and they'll offset the pressure that you come under. Right. Like our new city council.
Yeah.
They're all meeting new people they've never met before, who are people with a lot of money and a lot of influence. And
that's not so great.
You got to keep those coalitions together so they hear us.
You mean the grassroots coalition?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly right.
So.
Oh yeah, they're meeting people who are the moneyed people,
right,
who are trying to turn them.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't get your point. Yeah.
I mean, look,
absolutely.
All of Jim Melvin's people, all those real estate people who dominated city council for all those years, they all lost. The only guy on there who's really going to carry that banner is Woody Marshall, maybe the mayor, but the guy who got elected in my district, and even last night, every zoning thing, everything, he was there to put his name on it right away. But he's the only one there who's really going to carry the water.
I want to get us back to
no,
this is all fine.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to get us back to the fact that Jesse Jackson, a product in many ways of Greensboro,
right,
who came from a poor, oppressed family, among the most oppressed you could find in, I think it was in Greenville, South Carolina, and was so eloquent and effective, and especially in a way that was distinctive from Martin Luther King Jr. Mm-hmm. I had the privilege, as being a close friend of the real Norma Ray, Crystal Lee Sutton, and I think you both either knew her or knew her name. She was ready to support Jesse Jackson, so I brought her together with Jackson. It was either in '84 or '88. I'm not sure which one now. Mm-hmm. and Jackson's handlers. Mm-hmm. He himself had such potential, and it showed, because we ended up going with him to a church in Durham, I think, where he was educating the masses, the Afro-American people, in Durham, around the fact that the average person in the world is not white, but a person of color. Right. It's a woman. He was teaching at basic things right then and there, and he had that ability, and he had that humility in his own person, that he could get right to the people. So it was very impressive. But his handlers would not let him break. Can you imagine if Crystal had been able, a North Carolina heroine, who world known, had been able to unite with him, and she was very, very ready to do it, and he couldn't even really embrace it. Exactly the handlers. Again.
Right.
And also, people that I was associated with were the ones who put Jesse Jackson in one of those years in touch with the Latino community in New York. The black and Latino communities in New York were so split at that time that our little forces were some of the link. So the importance of unity, as we say at the end of every show,
Well, that's why
our strength lies our unity.
Right,
that's why Fred Hampton was killed in Chicago.
Exactly.
Because he was the one who really...
We brought all the people together.
Jesse talked about the Rainbow Coalition, but Fred Hampton went into the neighborhoods and really
and did it all before he never made 22 years of age. I want John to remember this.
Which made him a target to be murdered.
Exactly.
And even he underestimated the brutality of the police and the spies and the agents, the intelligence agencies, because he thought he was going to be sent back to prison, and instead, at 3 a.m., they burst into all of them burst into his apartment and murdered him. And Mark Clark.
And in reality, is going on today. You got to realize what happened in Minnesota is the same thing that happened to Fred Hamilton.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
they found an excuse to kill a human being, to murder a human being, in the name of the rich and powerful, which they're calling other folks criminals.
Right.
Because my knowledge is the biggest criminals in this country are
the rich and
powerful.
That's right.
Exactly. All right. And to further my point, to show you how it's done, they say, it came up years ago saying the minimum amount of drugs coming from Latin America or Central or South America through the border is minimal. They say that most of the drugs are coming through the ports in those crates of ships and whatnot. Yeah. But you haven't seen them storm none of those. Yeah. Right. Why? Who owns them?
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I saw a poster recently that said they want you to blame the immigrants so you don't look at the billionaires.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yes.
There's a lot of good posters, and it is excellent. So we also wanted to pay tribute not only to Jesse Jackson and Claudette Colvin, but also to our own Willena Cannon. So why don't you say something, Gary? I had a lot of respect for her, but you think you knew her better.
Well, when I moved to Greensboro and first learned about what happened in 1979, I didn't move here until '86, but I was just astounded. And then every time I went to any event, Willena was there.
Right.
She was, and she was just only starting to work in the housing area, where she's made a big difference in Greensboro in reorienting at least some people's ideas about what developing housing should be.
Right.
But anyway, she was just really a strong person in voting and whatever,
Well, she was fighting first for the freedom of her son,
right?
Who had been a criminal, and was hit so hard as a young black man from a poor family.
Right.
It was almost like they executed him.
And
it was that extreme.
And because he was her daughter. I mean, her son.
Yeah.
I mean, it was because of her. He was targeted, as all the people were who were in and around the beloved community. But Willena she could bring it behind the microphone, but she never sought the spotlight. She was just always there, and a lot of the work that would be done, the people behind the microphones in front of the cameras would stir things up, and then people like Willena and Joyce Johnson had to come out and put some meat on those bones and organize things. And Willena was one of those.
Right.
And
she did it for decades.
That
absolute determination. So we also want to pay tribute to her.
Yes.
Right. And we're looking toward
give her credit.
Yes, absolutely.
So, because those are the people, like I look at Martin Luther King and Jesse Jackson, but the role she played was a much stronger role in the trenches.
Yeah,
right. That's right.
And the last thing I want to say, since we're into February already, and it's Black History Month, is that I never envisioned that I would ever read a new book as an old man now about the great Paul Robeson. my hero.
Oh,
Who,
is there such a thing?
and that the book by an author named Thomas Bryant is called. I'm not crazy about the title, but it's Kings and Pawns, like pawns and chess or something like that, and. He describes the clash. The whole book is about the clash between Paul Robeson and Jackie Robinson, who was put up by the white power structure as he was becoming this phenomenally popular and great baseball player, breaking the color barrier in the major leagues. And the ruling class and Branch Rickey from the Dodgers and all, they got him to go testify against Paul Robeson in Washington, D.C. And to Robeson's credit, he never, ever took Robinson on because he said that he was a young player who needed the job and all this kind of stuff. And I think Robeson himself didn't realize that even the most famous black person in the world, who Robeson was, could be toppled from the mountain. And the last thing I want to say about this book so far, and I'll be saying more about it later on, is that people like the three main leaders of the National NAACP, Roy Wilkins, Walter White, and the guy who ended up on the man who ended up on the Supreme Court, Thurgood Marshall, they all ended up conspiring with Bayard Rustin to try to discredit Robeson on behalf of the FBI and Herbert Hoover, and J. Edgar Hoover. And the thing I want our viewers to know is that the FBI and J. Edgar Hoover, at the same time as he was using them to topple the mighty Paul Robeson, also set up files on each one of them, and on two of them on Bayard Rustin because he was also a homosexual. So, we know that it's not a good thing to be a stooge for the enemy, because in our unity lies our strength.